runs for president in 2008, and obviously was not going to beat Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. But while this was all happening, has an affair with this woman named Raelle Hunter, who he then fathers a child with. He's just, yeah, I mean, I think he could have
He
come
also tried
back
to
if,
get her to have an abortion.
yes, he did. Well, hey, man,
That's the
the
move.
go-to move, man. What is that when they in football, they got the first 15 plays scripted? He was going to go by the script, bro. He was like,
He
that is a
did
script.
too. Oh,
That
that's
is a
terrible.
script every powerful man will do.
Welcome into the Armchair Politics Podcast. My name is David Coe. With me, as always, is Alex Smith and Dr. Christopher Carter, here to go through the biggest choke jobs and fumbles in modern political history. We put a great list together. I hope we didn't miss anything. Here's a general overview of all the choke jobs and fumbles we're going to go over. We are going to talk about Mark Sanford, the governor of South Carolina's affair, Nixon debating JFK, Michael Dukakis' run in his tank picture, George H.W. Bush going to a grocery store, Newt Gingrich trying to impeach Bill Clinton, John Edwards cheating on his dying wife with a staffer while running for president, Ted Kennedy not knowing why he wanted to run for president, the Alabama GOP for nominating Roy Moore for Senate, Rick Perry's debate, Jimmy Carter running against Ronald Reagan in 1980, Hillary running against Trump in 2016, and Barack Obama's bailouts, we'll call it. So we can start being really controversial. We'll start with Obama's bailouts, or we can start with Jimmy Carter, because I think those are two really interesting.
Well, first we got to name the tiers.
We name the tiers as we go. We don't,
Okay.
Listen, if you know what all your tiers are already, and you want to just throw out tiers, go ahead, man.
No, I know. Like I said, the top tier to me is the Latrell Sprewell, PJ Carlesimo tier of literal choking. Literal choking, like actual choking, like that's the biggest choke.
You're trying to kill us.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to kill us here.
Yeah, like literal actual choking. Like literal to me, God. that is the top tier of choke jobs. Is the actual choke. I can't think of anything else that's more choke than actually choking someone. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
It's an elite choke job.
It's an elite one. I don't know. Maybe y'all got another top tier, but for me, I was like, that's the first one popped in my mind. I was like, legit choke. So
I think
that's a good idea.
What's a good idea?
No, I think, the Latrell Sprewell choking PJ Carlesimo, you're going to kill us, because I think that actually ends up becoming much more important. That is the highest tier.
Tier one is just Sprewell, like Sprewell. Because that you can't write everything in there. Yeah, you're going to kill us.
I don't know. It doesn't get bigger than that, I think, right?
Yeah. That's
God,
solid.
That's so funny.
That's solid.
That's so funny.
Okay, so Obama, Wall Street bailouts, or Jimmy Carter?
I mean, I think let's start with Jimmy Carter, because I do think there's a way in which you see, at least as I tried to think about how I wanted to categorize these, is the overall historical significance, right, as to like what happened as a consequence of this choke job, right? And I do think like this actually ties into the Kennedy, like they're both tied together, because this is, when Kennedy was, when we used to actually have a legitimate primary in the Democratic Party, even for incoming presidents. And I think the Kennedy, because of that primary, it divided the base in such a way that it made room for Reagan to be able to be more divisive, to run in a kind of dog whistle racialized politics that he ended up doing. And I think it is, again, I say this now, this is where I can put my theologian Reverend Dr. Carter hat on, like his ability to just all of a sudden become Christian, because Lord knows this man was already divorced. Like he had all kinds of stuff that did not fit the Christian archetype. And you have Jimmy Carter, the man literally taught Sunday school. Like he literally is a Sunday school teacher, like an actual evangelical. And all of a sudden the religious folks are like, no, we didn't vote for the other guy who's a Hollywood actor and kind of pretend Christian, right? And so that tells you where their priorities were.
Shout out
and
Nancy.
His inability to actually handle controversies during his first administration and deal with inflation in such ways set us up for Reagan. Like, there is no reason Reagan should have won. He wasn't as qualified. Jimmy Carter was far ahead of his time, actually holding people accountable, but was not able to like turn that momentum and galvanize people in a way that ultimately is, I mean, literally, we're still living in the wake of Reagan. And so for me, that's like, I think when I think about it in terms of consequence, that is
Huge.
a long-term consequence. So for me, he's in a top tier. I think this is top tier, like this screwed us over. Like, I
So
almost cursed. Like, that's how bad it
because
is.
you brought up Ted Kennedy, I think we're gonna slide that one in too, because we're talking about the same year.
Yeah.
And I think to bring in Ted Kennedy not, and so the one thing we're referencing is Ted Kennedy got, I think, I'm not sure if it was 1979, 1980, but it was in the
I think it was
primary
79.
yeah, where he got asked on TV, why do you want to be president? He gave this like answer that in a lot of ways sort of torpedoed his primary, but Carter was so weak that Kennedy had such a name and people had been wanting him to run for president for so long that like it was almost like the worst thing that could have happened to the primary. Because I think if Kennedy runs a good primary, I think he beats Carter. Because Carter was so weak, but because he fumbled it so bad that like he still
That's a good
lost, but
point.
he
That's a good
also
point.
hurt Carter by having such a serious, that was the last time that we had like a contested convention.
Yeah.
Should have had one
Yeah.
2 years ago, but that's neither here nor there.
Neither
That's
here
a
nor
choke
there.
job. Anyway.
Yeah. But I think that's a really good point, David, because I think Ted Kennedy's life, he was he was the youngest of all of the, I think, 9, I think, or 11, or yeah,
The
9
Roman
Kennedy
Catholics, man, they don't believe in birth
Roman
control.
Catholics.
They don't
Hey
believe in
man,
birth control.
Phil Rivers is welcoming what, baby number 15? He's still doing the
God.
Lord's work.
I can't wait. I
Oh,
can't wait
man.
for. Just imagine in like 20 years when we've got like 5 Rivers quarterbacks in the NFL.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All of them, some of them gonna be in the Pro Bowl too, watch. But one of the things about
Trey Shanahan's the coach.
Trish. So like one of the things about Kennedy is that obviously he comes from a political dynasty, and obviously his brother John Kennedy was president. Robert Kennedy was attorney general, senator from New York, and could have been president
Would
had
have
he
been
not been
president.
killed by Sirhan. And then you have Teddy was like kind of the last hope. And so since 1960 to like around 1977, 70, it was this thing that like, okay, it'll be Teddy's turn, even though his family was terrified with him running because of all the tragedy that's happened
Because of
with the
all
family.
the
Right. So Teddy was like, I should just like I have to do this. And I don't think, and the reason Roger Mudd was like asking him literally a softball question, why do you want to be president? It was the most incoherent answer. He really didn't answer the question. And even some of his answers sounded like his brother's. So that showed you where he was coming from. It wasn't coming from him. And so so fumbling that, this is what really killed Carter, I think. In the 1980 Democratic Convention, Ted Kennedy gives basically a concession speech to the convention. And it's probably one of the most
he crushed.
incredible speeches of all time. And it ends with, for all those whose cares have been our concern, the work goes on, the hope still lives, and the dream shall never die. And I'm like, oh my God.
Where you been, buddy?
Right. I was like, yeah, exactly. And I don't know, to me, that is massive. That's like Pete Carroll throwing a pass play on the 1-yard line instead of running it with Marshawn Lynch. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
you're like, Yeah. Oh my God.
All right,
that's
so
good.
can I love that so much. Can I give my tier name for where I think Ted Kennedy fits?
Okay.
My tier name for that is Plexico Burress in the club.
Oh, dang.
Man.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Now, you know, Plex, now my wife went to Michigan State. So Plex is like close to my heart. And I'm just like, man, it's tough because like, I've encountered so many of these people during that era like because they were around when I was living in Lansing, and so like there's a part of me that's just like, man, these are like nice people that just do dumb stuff. They just do dumb
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Gonna be have a loaded.
To me, I went with Plexico here. I mean, yes, that's obviously really fucking dumb,
It is
but
dumb.
also just because like you're running for president, man. How do you not expect to get asked why you want to be president? Like you can't like that. This just not having that answer. Just shoot yourself in the foot
That's true.
or the
That's
leg.
great. And I think, we should put the clip in the show notes so people actually can see it. Because I watched it,
I'll link it.
and what you see is like he doesn't wait that long before he gives an answer, but it doesn't feel like, to Alex's point, like it's his answer. I think he gives a answer, right? Not his answer. And I think over time, when you listen to that concession speech, you can see he had figured out why he
Found
wanted
it.
to run. But the
Yeah,
problem, it was too late, and he should have
it's the
waited.
moment.
He should have waited, because clearly, I can't imagine how much trauma is living in you when you know your brother's been murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you should have gotten to some therapy, worked some junk out, maybe ran in 84. We could have, so yeah.
The woman that died in the car accident. Like I
Yeah,
mean, that
Chapman
man's
Wig,
life.
Mary
Yeah.
Jo. Yeah.
Yeah, man's life's filled with tragedy. So yeah, I
Yeah,
put that
yeah.
I put that on a B tier. Just I don't think necessarily the ordering matters. That's where it felt right to me. But yeah, y'all go with Plexico in the club for
Let's go in the
Ted.
club, shooting himself in the leg. Yep.
I agree with you. We're putting Jimmy Carter in, and you're gonna kill us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Latrell, you're
I
gonna
mean,
kill us, man.
because we have to. I mean, when we think about the impact of Reagan, like, we have to. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, we can
100%.
put Reagan and Thatcher in the same,
Oh my
like,
God. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what we're living in the wake of right now. So anyway, no, I think that's great. And oh man, I now you made me feel bad for Kennedy. That even after you saying that, I was like, man, that dude did live with a lot of tragedy. I just feel terrible.
Let's stay
Yeah.
in the Kennedy, but flip it back a couple years and go to
The elder
Nixon.
Kennedy. The elder Kennedy.
Nixon defeating Kennedy. Alex, I know you've
Man.
got something on this one.
Just look. All right. So Jack Kennedy is very young. He is I think a one-term senator. Nixon was vice president to Eisenhower. He was also in the House. Fun fact, years and years ago, when Nixon was running for a House seat, JFK's dad sent JFK to California to give Nixon money during his congressional campaign. So Nixon and Kennedy have known each other for a really long time, since before they were in Congress. And so it's very contentious. Kennedy is trying to show everybody that he is of substance because the whole thing is the fight against the Russians and anti-communism. And so Nixon was seen as kind of like the adult, the person who could handle it, and Kennedy seemed a little bit like a lightweight. So fast forward to a televised debate, which they both agreed to, which was the biggest mistake that Nixon ever made. Nixon probably could have won the presidency, but he had, I believe, some kind of surgery. And so he was looking not great when they were doing the dress rehearsal.
That's a nice
And
way
then
to
by
put
the
it.
time
The kids
right?
would say he was chopped.
Yeah,
He was
like,
chopped, man. And then he basically when the debate happened, Kennedy, who is they had taken pictures of his family. Like, he knows how to pose. He knows where the camera is. So Kennedy looked cool, attractive, calm and controlled. Nixon
Handsome.
looked paranoid, sweating, unfamiliar, because he's not used to the camera. And so Kennedy just absolutely, I think they did a poll that said everybody who listened to the debate thought Nixon won it. Everybody who saw the debate thought Kennedy won. So if Nixon either would have been more prepared, which he wasn't prepared for, or if he would not have agreed to it, I don't know if Kennedy would have won the presidency.
or we could say if Nixon wasn't as ugly, maybe he would have won. I mean, it
You
could be as
know,
simple as that.
look,
But this is where TV and attractiveness matters. Now,
And it's really-
I don't know what the hell happened in
And
this
it's
past
kind of
presidency, because clearly,
correct me if I'm wrong, but this kind of felt like where it really started to matter.
yes, yeah.
This
because
was
you
the first
actually
televised
100%.
debate.
Yeah.
Can I pitch my tier idea for this one? It's oops, I revealed the truth. Cause Nixon was a paranoid.
Yeah,
Like
was
he was
paranoid.
he was a paranoid or ogre, and like like, sure, if he was better prepared and could have worn makeup or made a different choice or hid himself a little bit more, he might have won. But oops, I revealed the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he is yeah, I'm trying to come up with like kind of a sports comp of like, you know, when it came down to it, yeah, it was very, but yeah, no, oops, yeah, that's fine. I was trying to
That's
think of that
I mean,
because I was
honestly,
trying to,
fine.
the what means Urban Meyer, like basically.
oh yeah,
Like,
there we go. We did it.
I'm
There
like,
it
that's
is.
Urban. I mean, that is literally that's Urban Meyer. I'm like, that dude just you're like after a while, you're like, oh no, that's who you are. Like that's who you are. That's
Yeah.
basically what that is. So yeah,
Nixon is Urban Meyer. I love it. That's
yeah.
that's
Nixon
a great
is
comp.
Urban
That's
Meyer.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, moving on. I think
That's
I
so
think I
hilarious about
I
the
think that's so good.
you were so Alex so kind about with this. I didn't know about the surgery because I was just like, but still, I
Oh
just think
yeah.
he's just not. He doesn't know how to handle himself. Like he's not someone who is cool, and that's all. I
But the
mean,
thing is,
which sounds so ridiculous to say as some kind of analysis. But you know, when people are cool and know how to be around other people because you just know you figure it out. You're like,
and
oh, this
Nixon
dude ain't
ain't
never
that
been
guy.
cool. Yeah, he ain't that guy. He ain't that
But
guy.
also, I didn't
He
know
was
about the
never that guy.
I didn't know about the surgery. I appreciate you saying that, Alex. But here's the thing: just like in football, if you're on the field, nobody cares if you're hurt.
Exactly.
You
Yep.
know,
No one cares.
like
Yeah, and I
Drake
mean,
May
look,
had a shoulder injury. Nobody cares. You're out on the field. Play, man.
yeah, I mean, like,
God.
look, JFK was like has Addison's disease, chronic back problems, like, and was given last rites as a kid like 5, 6 times. Like, I don't, like, come on, JFK is he probably wasn't gonna live until his 60th birthday because there were so many ailments, but like he was battling like disease or illness
Daily.
rather. Right. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
what does the girls say? He was a snack? Yeah, man, JFK was a snack, bro.
JFK was a snack. I'm more of a Bobby man, but I understand the appeal.
Short Kings. Short Kings.
uh move it. Let's do a quick one. This one feels appropriate right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Mike Dukakis, in the tank picture.
He was never gonna win. I mean,
I think this one's
sorry.
simple. I think this one's simple as well. I think this one's also, oops, I revealed the truth, which is I was insecure. I'm insecure about my strength as a political leader. So I'm going to do something that makes me look strong, but actually reveals that I'm a wimp.
So this is where I actually had to do some research on this because I remember him running, but I didn't know much about him. And when I actually read some articles and interviews, because he was a professor at UCLA for a while, and his analysis of why he lost was so intelligent and coherent.
Yes, it
Like
was.
I was like, this dude was smart enough to clearly. And honestly, to me, this is like one of the ones because he allowed HW to win, that allowed W to win, which created the Department of Homeland Security. And I mean, like you could follow the chain of events to crazy. And so what he said, I'll make this quick so we move on, was he made the mistake of not responding to the negative ads because he felt like that the country was already so divided. But when you look at what he did in Massachusetts, like clearly he was competent and I wouldn't say he wasn't insecure. He just had bad strategy. He had bad advice.
He was
And by the
scared.
time by the time he realized he needed to really be aggressive and fight back, it was too late because they were accusing him of being soft on crime. Because there was like that one, but like the crime rate in Massachusetts was so much better than where
Willie,
it was. Willie
now
Horton.
we're bringing back up Willie Horton again because
so it's just like,
he didn't lose because of the tank pick. He lost because of Willie Horton because he wouldn't respond to that.
Yep.
But I think
Yep.
the tank pick
Encapsulates.
stuck because it encapsulated the fact that he was scared to take on HW take on HW's attacks. And so the tank issue, the tank pick really encapsulated is perfect.
Can I give a different tier for that?
Please.
The 2026 Patriots playoff offense. It's very scared of anything, terrified, could not defend themselves. I mean, hey,
Sure, I'm
man.
here for it. Let's do it.
Oh
Let's go.
God,
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm like,
2026 Patriots
man.
playoff offense.
Oh man,
Shout out to my boy.
that
Will
was rough
Campbell,
too because
LSU, man.
and like Vrabel is like you could see Vrabel. I mean,
Offensive.
is a great coach. You can see what he did is like amazing, but then you're just like this dude, like like they have nothing. So anyway.
Yeah, he had the look on about midway through the second quarter. He's like, "Oh, there's nothing I can do here. There's nothing
No,
I can do here." We gotta
no.
talk about
Defense.
how Josh McDaniel got owned by Mike McDonald.
Dude, Mike
That
McDonald
was
was,
some
I mean,
that was some Scottish on Scottish crime right there.
that I think that is the reason why Harbaugh got fired. Losing that coach, like, literally just tore apart the Ravens. Like, he is brilliant. And so yeah, he got owned. He got owned. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really do appreciate his ownership after the fact and how he really talked about it. I have a lot of respect for Michael Dukakis because we all make mistakes. Not a lot of people have the chutzpah to really own that, and that's awesome. Mark Sanford. Oh, this one's so
oh my
great.
gosh.
This is
Appalachian
the
Trail, baby.
Appalachian Trail. So Mark Sanford was the governor of South Carolina, and he struck up an affair with, I believe, an
Argentinian journalist.
Argentinian journalist. And what makes this great is that he was missing while he was governor
For 5 days.
for 5 days.
5 days, man.
And while he was actually off having an affair, he said he was hiking the Appalachian Trail, which I just it turned into a euphemism, and I think it's beautiful because the visual imagery of the Appalachian Trail in fellatio I think really works, and the whole thing is just beautiful.
I agree. No, I mean it's the bottom tier because it's not that politically significant, but it's hilarious. Like, it is
Yes.
literally hilarious. You're like, this dude could not think of any other excuse. He could have been like, "Hey, I have a conference," and I just lie about a conference. Like, just think of something else. But when you intoxicated,
He
with
said
that,
something objectively funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
This is
Y'all
like
got
an
any,
own
y'all got
goal.
any ideas for this tier name?
Yeah,
I got
I
one.
would call this an own goal.
yeah,
Nice.
on goal. Yeah,
My
goal.
my suggestion is thinking with your LBJ.
Oh, well, look, okay. We got a couple of those.
Hey,
yeah, we
now.
do. We got a few of
those.
those. We got a few of those.
You want that own goal or thinking with
Yeah.
your LBJ?
Own
Either
goal.
one. Yeah, I mean,
Carter, you
I would say I
decide.
think I think
Democracy
own
here.
goal. I think own
Own
goal
goal.
is what, because it's like, hey, this is, you just did yourself in because you're an idiot.
And he was like a
He
very popular guy, governor who a lot of the
people
Republicans
liked
were
him.
thinking, hey, he can run for president. He's going to run for president. And I
Listen,
think,
can one of y'all validate my Photoshop job on Mark Sanford real quick?
no, I like it. It's Mark Sanford right below the Appalachian Trail.
Thank you for the audio audience.
Well,
I
for the audio
photoshopped
audience,
a map
it's
of
quite
Mark Sanford, a map of the Appalachian Trail over Mark Sanford's headshot
yeah.
in the
By the way, he
own
he
goal
ran for
tier.
president in 2020. So just so people know,
Jesus, did
he
he?
was like, hey man, there's not enough shame for people. And you know what? The man was in love, and you think he's still in love with this woman, or was for a
No, I
while.
think they're
So
still married. No, I think they're still
yeah,
married.
yeah. So
I mean,
He
regardless,
married. Oh, hey,
yeah.
Mazel
But
tov.
it's just like, but just
what are you
get
doing?
divorced, man. Just get divorced.
Yeah, get
Like, hey, you
divorced.
know
It's
what?
easy.
It ain't working. They were anyway. We don't need to
I
really
feel
talk about
like
it anymore.
I feel like we're gonna see the problem. My issue is own goal is not sufficient enough for this next one, because if you don't know about the John Edwards scandal when he ran for president in 2008, like after you're finished with this podcast, like go back and read some stuff and listen to some stuff, because this shit is wild. Like there is having an affair, and then there is what this man did. Because not only, like, John Edwards' wife was a major part of his political brand, like as a family man. And not only did he have a long-standing affair on his wife while running for president, mind you, the worst time you could think to do it, but it was during his wife's cancer treatments.
The cancer came back, right? So she had cancer before. It came back, and he was, he also was indicted, by the way. Now he wasn't charged. I think they ended up dropping charges, but he was indicted because he was using campaign funds to, I believe, hide his affair. So
Yes.
yes, so he ran for president in 2024. He subsequently ended his Senate career because he was one of the
It
few
wasn't
Democratic
2024.
senators. 2004. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
2004, ran for president, lost to John Kerry, became the vice president's candidate. They did not like each other, all this other stuff. Then he runs for president in 2008, and obviously was not going to beat Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. But while this was all happening, has an affair with this woman named Raelle Hunter, who he then fathers a child with. And, he's just, yeah, I mean, I think he could have
He
come
also tried
back
to get her to have an abortion.
Yes, he did. Well, hey, man,
That's the move.
go-to move, man. What is that when they in football, they got the first 15 plays scripted? He was going to go by the script, bro. He was like, that is a script.
Too. Oh,
That
that's
is a
terrible.
script every powerful man will do. Anyway, yeah, you can create your own tier for him thinking with your junk or whatever you wanted to do. I think that's fine.
That's
Nah,
worse
tier
than
needs to-
thinking with your
yeah,
junk.
This would be like
my tier for him was, you are a special kind of narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was gonna say something to do with like hell. I was even thinking like Sheol. I was like, this dude, because I'm like, that's evil. I mean, that's something like that is like, that's evil. Like that's how I feel when you do that to someone who is literally dying. So yeah, special guy narcissist is fine, but I'm just like, that's just crazy. And I'm supposed to be, I guess I'm supposed to say I have grace for everyone, but like, come on, man. Come on. Come on, dog.
Man. That
Come on,
is.
man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
genuinely dark.
Yeah. All right, who we got next?
Are we just staying in infidelity? Is this the infidelity section of our podcast? This one's a little bit lighter. This one I really enjoy because like there's some real karmic justice here. So I'm sure if you're over the age of 35, you're well acquainted with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky's affair and the national scandal and impeachment proceedings that turned into. It's crazy. And the impeachment proceedings was led by none other than Republican House Speaker Newt Gingrich. And Newt Gingrich was very high and mighty, and literally brought impeachment proceedings because the president had an affair in the Oval Office and really, really was coming down the mountain from the Christian right about morals and family values, all while Mr. Newt Gingrich himself had been having affairs on his own wives. I'm pretty sure Newt's cheated on all of his wives. Maybe not his third, but definitely his first two. He actually seems happy with his third wife, and they seem like they're a good couple.
Third time's a charm. That's what they say. Third time's a charm.
And also, if you look into Newt Gingrich's history, he married very young, and then married again right after he married his first wife, and so there seems like a lot of Christian trauma that was inflicted on himself, but I just love that he was coming down the mountain about Bill Clinton's infidelity all while he was getting some on the side, and he got his just comeuppance because none of that stuck to Bill Clinton, but it ruined Newt Gingrich's political career.
So I'm going to say this. You're going to kill us, and I'm going to tell you why. If Bill Clinton, because he basically was a power dynamic. By the way, shout out to Monica Lewinsky, who's like literally is in a different place.
Shout
she's
out
doing
to
good.
She's doing living her life.
American Queen Monica Lewinsky. Because she was wronged by the Clintons, that woman could have had a right-wing grift that would have blown Riley Gaines out of the water, and she stayed true to herself. Shout out to Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, man. So like she still is a person, I believe, of love and justice, and so like I have nothing but respect for her and the power dynamic that she was under. So basically, this was Bill Clinton ruined this. So the reason I say you're killing us is, get this. So if Bill Clinton does not get impeached, Al Gore has him on the campaign trail with him. Al Gore specifically asked Bill Clinton not to come on the campaign trail with him. Al Gore in Florida, because of Ralph Nader, loses the Florida election by, I think, was it 528 votes or 500 something votes.
Yeah.
And that gave us W. So that impeachment, because Bill Clinton was impeached, now he had a lot of allegations, Paula White, all this other stuff. I still think Al Gore would have had him campaign with us. But the fact that he was impeached, even though he was still popular, Al Gore refused to have him campaign with him, loses the election. We have W. Obviously, the Supreme Court did their thing. And yeah, it was. That's why I put that in that tier. You're killing us because that impeachment led to, I think, indirectly or
It's like
directly,
that.
George W.
It's
Bush's
like it's
presidency.
like that domino meme where you see like the little
Yeah.
domino knocking over, and then the big one,
You
again
don't
the big
think
one.
it's right.
I
You don't
agree
think
with
it's
you.
significant, but it's like no.
You've
It
won
had
me over.
reverberations.
I've put it in that you're going to kill us here.
Yeah,
I
no, I think
completely agree.
I think you're because that definitely. I mean, again, that's why I was trying to talk about Dukakis. Like, you have these moments where you're just like these sliding doors moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, like if this thing goes slightly different, you know. And then I did want to say this about Dukakis before I forget because I think this is where you begin to see, and David, I know you'll appreciate this, the beginnings of the consultant class beginning to erode the Democratic Party. Cause I mean, because when I was, and that's, I read too much of this because I was like, oh my gosh, this is where it starts. This is where this dude is listening to a consultant instead of doing what he thought. He's listening to some consultants and you end up losing. Now it's like, this all, so anyway, that's where for me, yeah, these are pivotal moments basically where like the Bushes and the Reagans basically screwed us up. So we're like, what led us to them?
Cowardice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cowardice,
Yeah,
man.
no, you're right.
Cowardice.
You're right. You're right. You're
Yeah, and
right.
it's still, it's still what's there. It's the, I think, Democratic candidates are significantly more comfortable losing with a known strategy than what the alternative might be.
Yeah.
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 Lame.
Let's jump into Rick Perry because I think this is a clear
Yes.
own. This is a clear own
This is a
goal.
clear own goal. This
Is
dude.
it an own goal or is it oops, I revealed the truth?
No, I
But
think it's an own goal because.
What
All right,
I
so
just
go ahead.
maybe
Give
David say a
your
little bit why you think it's why it's well,
yeah.
yeah.
Because this is Rick Perry exposing who he is, an unserious person who has never done the work. And he is so unserious that he couldn't even remember his own plan. So what we're talking about is Rick Perry very, very famously when he was running for president in
2012.
2012, wanted to abolish three departments within his administration. And I don't remember what them were, but it was my plan. It was like the
It
Department
was
of Education.
education, commerce, and then he couldn't remember the third one. The
He,
third
he
one
could
was the energy department, which was what he was the
insane,
secretary of in
right?
Trump's first administration.
I know, right? And the fact that like in the fact that he was so what I love, and I actually really struggle with a sports comp for this because he didn't care after the like he if you go the video is so great because it was like commerce, education, oop, and he literally just goes oops, like oops, I forgot, like a third grader who like doesn't remember something on a
How to
pop quiz,
spell?
not
I
someone
gotta
who
spell
just
it for me.
not somebody who just tanked their presidential campaign because they are just so unserious that they couldn't be bothered to do their homework. I'm fine with either because he's a moron, but I think it's more.
You
I
can do
think
the
it's
reveal the truth. I can kind of see that.
I mean, I think that's the truth, but I just don't think he was ever gonna win anyway. So that's why I'm like, it's no. I mean, like,
Own goal.
The Armchair Politics Podcast is brought to you by AT&T, the proud mission-critical telecommunications provider for ICE and Border Patrol. AT&T's Best in the Nation networks make sure that ICE agents receive prioritized, enhanced voice quality and uninterrupted service so ICE can more effectively violate your civil rights. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. The Armchair Politics Podcast is proud to be sponsored by Flock Security. Not only is Flock a network of thousands of AI-powered cameras and license plate readers all across the United States that local law enforcement can access at the click of a button, but Flock systems have also been used to search thousands of times for ICE operations to target protesters as well. Flock has over 70,000 cameras operating in 49 states. Please do not go to deflock.me to see maps of cameras near you. That's deflock.me to see where the government is spying on you. It's tax season again. And if last year you used the IRS's direct free file, then the fine folks at Intuit TurboTax have some good news. This year you'll want to use TurboTax's simple free file because they lobbied Congress to get rid of the popular IRS free file version. You're welcome. And don't worry, along the way, TurboTax will find a way to turn your return complicated, making it not free. TurboTax, solving a problem they created for a price. This message is brought to you by the LA28 chairman, Casey Wasserman. I deeply regret my correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell, which took place over 2 decades ago, long before her horrific crimes came to light. I never had a personal or business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. As is well documented, I went on a humanitarian trip as part of a delegation with the Clinton Foundation in 2002 on the Epstein plane. I am terribly sorry for having any association with either of them. Well, I think that's just wonderful going into the LA Olympics. That man's right out front. Jolly Gee.
Let's do Obama Wall Street
Let's go.
bailouts.
Carter, this is one you wanted.
This was mine.
This is the Carter special right here.
Because this is the one where, like, so, all right, I got a little bit of, so my family's from Michigan, a little bit of a story. My family's from Michigan. We are, you know, my family are folk who came out of poverty because of the industrial, like manufacturing. Basically, like, my family was farmers, and working in factories is what helped us move to, like, lower middle class. And so this crisis that happens in 2008, 2007, 2008 really hits my home state hard. So from 2006 to 2012, the population in Michigan declines each year, even beyond, like, you have between people leaving the state and people dying, like, the population continues to decline. Like, that's how negatively impacted economically the state was. Detroit starts to collapse. All these negative, bad things start happening. And a lot of it is tied to the way in which Obama structured the bailouts. Now, to be clear, the automobile bailouts totally made sense. I can understand that given the way in which they were tied into the defense industry and what they were trying to do. However, the Wall Street bailouts, like, because they were their own worst enemy in creating these mortgages, again, that totally screwed up, like, the suburban metropolitan Detroit, West Michigan. And I will put myself in this category of someone who totally got screwed because of what happened, like, financially. Like, we didn't get out of this order like 2015. It was insane. And what it created and laid the groundwork for the Tea Party, because he did not hold them accountable, because he said, hey, they were too big to fail. He gave corporations money. You could begin to see the through line between the kind of corporate Democratic junk that we're dealing with now. I think it made him lose credibility with many of the progressives. They realized, oh no, this dude is, like, he's more moderate than we perhaps realized. And I think he had already kind of said that, but I think that he revealed to who he was. And ultimately, because of what happened with the, you can follow the through line of the Tea Party to Trump to where we are right now. And so for me, this is oops, I revealed the truth, as how I feel about it. Like, the truth is that he is not he's not progressive as we had hoped. He is tied to the, like, corporate economic machine. He wants to give these other these corporations bailouts where they get golden parachutes and then give them more money, rather than and at the same time costing people their jobs. Like, people's 401k collapse. Like, the house I owned lost $100,000 in value, and then the people who own the mortgage company, they get millions of dollars. Man, you can kiss my behind with that, dog. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like,
it's the perfect example of socialism for them and rugged capitalism for us.
You see, I'm still mad about it. Like, that's why I said, I'm like,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
still mad about it, because it was so unfair. And that's all I kept thinking. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And this is where I agreed with the Republican critique. And not that I think they were making it in good faith. Some of them probably were, but I agreed with it. I was like, no, they declare bankruptcy. They are bankrupt. That's what we got it for. You failed. Good. I mean, this is capitalism. You want it. You got it. So anyway, so that's how I feel. I have to see, because I'm too mad.
So I want to put a little
Alex,
bit
can I ask
extra
you a
color.
question? Can I, because as you add color, because I know when in the lead up to the 2000 into Obama's being elected for the first time, do you remember any specific policy plans that he had? Because I wasn't that plugged in at that time, but or was it more of a vibes thing? Because I'm trying to think of, like, where did he align himself politically, even if to the people who were paying attention, because most people aren't.
No, so this is where I think Obama is the great contradiction of, I think, modern Democrats, where I think they believe two different things, right? So leading up to the 2008 election, remember, to put a little extra color, George Bush in the Bush administration did the first bailout. So they did the first Wall Street bailout. John McCain suspended his campaign. Remember, he said, I'm going to suspend my campaign and go to Washington. That's one of the reasons he also lost the election outside of Sarah Palin. And Barack Obama was talking about millionaires and billionaires and holding people accountable. And so therefore, when he came into office, Dodd-Frank was going to be the framework as to, you get the Consumer Protection Bureau out of that. So I think you have a situation where Barack Obama liked to have things both ways. And that's kind of the truth about him. He thought that Wall Street was valuable, but he also thought they should be held accountable, but not enough to actually really put the enforcements, like the screws to them. And I don't know whether that because first black president and whatever, but he also had like super duper rich donors,
I
you
think it's
know.
because he went to Harvard. Man. I think he hung around a lot of rich people. I think he had good influence by them, and like he even though he was a community organizer and had working class roots and understood the conditions of impoverished people, I think he bought into the economic lie they had been taught in those kinds of institutions, that if these organizations fail, it's gonna make it worse for other people. Which, to be fair, it will be difficult, but we need to share in the difficulty. Right? That's what people think is justice. If it's hard for everybody, people can look at it, hey man, it's hard for them, it's hard for us. But when you see it's hard for us and it's not hard for them, this is a problem. But Alex, you're totally right. We forget that Bush did the first one. And I think your analysis is correct in terms of he did like to, he wanted to compromise. He wanted to try to find things that both sides could agree on. And I think he failed in that moment to realize, no, this is an issue of justice. Right. And I think that's where he made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of, yeah. I like
Alex,
that.
you were gonna jump through this screen at the sports comp I'm gonna give for this. So Alex and I are both diehard Saints fans. And for 15 years, we had a Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Listen, hey, the election of Barack Obama was not just great because he was elected. It was also because it was the year the Saints won their first and only Super Bowl. So,
and that happened to be the year that you and I met.
good time, the good things happen all around. But after the Saints won the Super Bowl, there was this period, about 10 years where they were good but could never get over the hump. And Alex and I were constantly complaining about our general manager Mickey Loomis, because he would both at the same time be trying to go all in, but also plan for the future. And for years we'd be like, Mickey Loomis is splitting the baby. He's splitting the baby. And that's why we would consistently succeed, but never get over the top. We'll leave Marcus Davenport out of this for now, but,
yeah, let's mortgage the future here.
It really reminded me of in this conversation, Barack Obama's wanting to appease both sides really reminded me of like the late teens Mickey Loomis.
Man,
Like
that's
not being able to go all the way in or go all the way out.
Right. Choose a lane and do it if you can do it. And anyway.
Man, that's a great comp. No, I think that's a great analysis. And I think I understand what he was trying to do. I think he just missed the moment. I think he underestimated the moment. It'd be curious to ask him if he feels that way now. I don't think he does, because I do think he has.
I think the thing that he will never admit that is especially true is that he was incredibly naive.
Yes.
That whole will break the fever, like it is genuinely one of the most naive things he's ever said.
And as much as I have respect for him, I do think though that his understanding of American history comes from a person who is, has that naive, like he thought he was different and he wasn't.
Let's turn this mood around a little bit, because this is genuinely my favorite item of the whole thing.
Dark, man.
Sorry.
All right, so Barack Obama leaves office and can't run for a third term, and Donald Trump beats Hillary Clinton for the 2016 presidency. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to have because Trump wins, Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions becomes Donald Trump's attorney general, I believe. Leaving that Senate seat vacant for a special election. Donald Trump named Luther Strange to fill the seat, who was then running in the Republican primary against former Alabama Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore. And what you need to know about Roy Moore is not only was Roy Moore a known pedophile, but he was a sex pest pedophile. Like
Oh yeah.
he wasn't just like, oh, this guy is a pedophile. He was it came out that he was banned from local malls because security had to, like, because he was harassing young girls as a grown man, that he was banned from shopping malls back when those used to exist. And so the Alabama GOP has the chance to choose between Luther Strange, just your regular ass GOP senator, and the sex pest Judge Roy Moore. But because Roy Moore was impeached from the Alabama Supreme Court for things like putting the Ten Commandments in state buildings, and I also believed he was impeached a second time for not uh, enforcing the ban on
Gay
gay
marriage. Yeah.
marriage. So
Yeah,
because he had
yeah.
Yeah.
taken on these culture wars, Alabama voters just loved the pedophile. And it's not terribly surprising. You know, Donald Trump was actually right on this one and supported Luther Strange. But the Alabama GOP nominated Roy Moore, which allowed Doug Jones to beat him in the runoff by like this much because most Alabamans didn't even show up. And I swear this was the wildest election I could ever remember because you know, I'm from Louisiana, so Alabama politics spill over. And so many people in Alabama were biting their lip. It was like, should we vote for the Democrat or the sex pest? And like they were genuinely torn of what to do. And it's insane.
That's why they didn't vote. I mean, literally, they were just like, oh, I guess
Yeah,
I can't do it.
and so they stayed home, and that's why Doug Jones won. And to me, this was the own goal of all own goals
Yes,
because
100%.
Democrats should have no business winning a Senate seat in Alabama in these times ever. It was
Like
insane.
remember when Donald Trump was impeached for the insurrection, Doug Jones, I believe, no, because he lost the 2020 election. I thought Doug Jones was he was a part of the first impeachment. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that could have been an own goal or a Plaxico in the club. So yeah,
Oh, you're right. I think you know what? I think Plaxico in the club is so much more appropriate
because you have to think
because
about how egregious it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You're
Yeah.
right.
And
100% you're right.
also the way in which, again, this is where you're still trying to get enough people in Congress to be able to, this is when Trump was actually trying to legislate, like trying to
Yeah,
legislate,
right,
you
right.
know,
I'm
so
Trying
pretty
to
this
sure.
use
is
I'm pretty
Congress
sure
to do
this
stuff. Yeah.
gave Democrats a majority in the Senate
in the
for a little
Senate.
bit
Yep.
because they got a free seat in Alabama for like 2.5
Yeah.
years. It was insane.
Yeah. No, it was great.
Another one that I just loved. This is a quick little video. Y'all should Google George Herbert Walker Bush
Oh my
discovering
God.
a grocery store scanner for the first time. This one's quick, and this one for me, and this one's easy. This is oops, I exposed the truth. The man was so disconnected from reality that you put him out in the real world and he didn't know how to interact in it, and it's just funny.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Yeah. I mean,
he had no idea.
and then my favorite, I mean, that was like the oops, I revealed the truth, and also like, read my lips, no new taxes. Like all of that stuff contributed to, and Ross Perot contributed. He never forgave Ross Perot, by the way, too, for costing him the election. I was like, brother, you was out of touch. We
Shout
was
out
in a
Ross Perot.
recession. Man, that guy.
I love that goofy guy. I don't love him. But like I like he amuses me.
He's
He is
amusing. That's
amusing.
what I say. He's amusing.
He is
He's
amusing. All right, 2014
You know what?
Dems.
No, we're gonna no. We're that's just up there. That's just up there. Like like how us Jews like to leave an empty chair for someone. We're not actually talking about that one. Let's move on to the real one.
Good.
Hillary in 2016. Oh, we can talk about it briefly. Barack Obama was reelected comfortably with like 350 electoral votes in 2012, and congressional Dems ran against him, ran away from him in 2014. It was a genuine act of cowardice. I'm not even putting it on the board. Hillary Clinton in 2016. This one is I consider this a choke job because she wanted this. She wanted, she thought Donald Trump was the best candidate for her to run against, and her campaign promoted Donald Trump in the Republican primary, and she got what she asked for.
I'm going to tell you this. The sports comp to this is very easy. It's Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas.
amusing.
And I think Mike Tyson was the overwhelming favorite. Mike Tyson also was not training properly for that fight and kind of showed up and got beat. Hillary Clinton did not go to specific places. It was it was supposed to be seen as a coronation,
I
and
wasn't
she
I wasn't
got
gonna say something because I assumed that Carter would come in Michigan.
I
Michigan.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah.
she's.
So go
I
ahead,
have
go ahead.
lots.
I like how
Well,
we're
no,
all just
no.
like,
Because I think we all can remember this moment, and I remember thinking as this. It's funny. I made a mistake with Kamala because I thought there was enough. Well, towards the end, I was worried, but regardless, that's another choke job that we didn't include on here. With this one, I saw it coming. I saw it coming because this is when people are starting to say Black Lives Matter, and she's unwilling to say it. Like, because she's like, oh, all lives matter. Like, she's again showing the way in which she's out of touch and has an elitism about her that is, uh, it's off putting. And not because she's a woman. It has to be clear. It's not because she's a woman. This is different. This is because she is actually, I think, unable to actually go and be around regular people and talk to them and actually connect with them and understand their struggles and their suffering and be sympathetic to them. I think she has an idea of why things went wrong, and she projects that onto folks rather than listening and actually trying to imagine an alternative future with them. And I think this was her fundamental problem. It's this arrogance of I'm smart, and she is smart, right? Like, she has all these
Incredibly.
things, but but when you have to have enough humility to know within politics that you're there to serve others, that it's not about you. And she's like, in the Democratic Party, we're like, no, she waited her turn. And maybe we could even put a choke job up here with respect to like how we structure our primaries. And the Republicans do a better job, but it's just a straight up primary. There are no, super delegates or anything like that. It's just one vote, and that's what it counts. Because I have no doubt in my mind Bernie Sanders would have beat Trump. He would have beat him. Because Bernie Sanders is like, he is like this, like that would have, I think, galvanized enough people because it was so different and people needed a new vision to grab onto. But the Democrats were like, oh no, he's not even a real Democrat. He's a socialist. This is a lifetime Democrat. We have to support this person. And I think that kind of, and when you surround yourself with people who are enabling you, who aren't challenging you to think critically and to grow, it gets her in this place where she can look at someone like Trump and be like, this dude's an idiot. Clearly, they're going to vote for me. And I'm like, that's not enough. You can't just run against someone and say, this person is dumb, so vote for me, when this person is clearly good in public relations and PR. You need to have an offensive strategy, right, that actually sells you to people rather than just saying, well, you're not clearly going to vote for him because look at this buffoon, right? It's just like literally, not only you're going to kill us, like we are actively dying because because of your mistake. Like, I don't know nothing like there. Like, we are actively dying. People getting kidnapped, snatched up, folks is dying, right? Because of your mistake. That's how I feel. So I'm like, yeah, I know we saved it to the end because I'm like, this is crazy, the mistakes that the Democratic Party made. Maybe choke job should be the DNC. I don't know.
yeah,
Or not
DNC
DNC,
choke
like
job.
whatever we call the Democratic Party, whoever runs it. Like,
Well, so I would say that, like, that's a bit of a chicken and an egg question because Hillary spent so much time before her run lining up everything behind the scenes so that everything would be smooth. So, like, yeah, I agree with you that but part of the choke job is on the DNC, but the DNC allowed Hillary Clinton to kind of
that's true.
make the organization within herself.
Or image, yep.
Well, I think also, so I come on the other side. I don't think Bernie Sanders would have won. And the reason I don't think Bernie Sanders would have won is because the word socialism would have been connected to that. There were so many people in this past election, 2024, that heard the word socialism and Kamala Harris, which to me is one of the craziest things, but they were able to make that connection. And I think there is a lot of, I don't know how much he would have connected with black folks because he was still learning how to talk in
He's
black
still learning how to
spaces,
talk to black
right, to people,
spaces.
you know what I'm saying? And understanding in that language, like, and so maybe, but I think, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest kind of choke job is the fact that this was going to be a coronation. Everybody has that picture of their mind at the 2016 DNC of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama laughing together. And really the joke was on us because the two people who always believe they're the smartest people in the room, because usually they are, got outsmarted. They didn't
Is
have
it
their hand, they didn't have their finger on the pulse,
was it like
except for except for Joe Biden, who knew. And he got, anyway, he's wrong for a lot of reasons, but it's like, I don't know. I think this was such a is there a sports comp that's like
Miracle on
something
Ice.
happens that changes the trajectory of the sport?
Wow. I mean, the Miracle on Ice is interesting. It didn't really change the trajectory of the sport, but I do think that's
Hold on, what'd you
But
say?
but he was talking about the
Miracle.
Miracle on Ice. I was trying to think something that changed the trajectory of the sport. That's a really good way to frame it because that is, a consequence of what happened with this
And
particular choice.
because like I'll never forget like like how the Russians didn't know to pull the goalie at the
Yeah.
end of that game, and I'll never forget like John Podesta like on an election night being like, "Oh, hey guys, we got nothing for you. We'll come back tomorrow." And it's like, "Oh, you didn't have a plan for this. Uh oh."
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, you could also say what is it, the undefeated Patriots team going and playing the Giants. I mean, because you're thinking about like the
Yeah.
overwhelming favorites. I mean, I think they probably took the Giants pretty seriously, but I just think, it's just like everybody's like, no way, they'll complete the perfect season.
I'm gonna recap our tier list for our audio audience. In our top tier, the "You're Going to Kill Us All" PJ Carlissimo getting choked out tier. We got Jimmy Carter fumbling. We got Newt Gingrich being an absolute hypocrite in his impeachment hearings, and Hillary Clinton just underestimating Donald Trump. The next year, we've got "Oops, I Revealed the Truth." Nixon in his debate, Rick Perry's literal oops moment, Barack Obama bailing out Wall Street, and George W. Bush being completely out of touch and not knowing what a grocery store scanner is. Below that, we got Plexico in the Club, Senator Ted Kennedy, and the Alabama GOP voters for nominating Roy Moore. Below that, we got Mike Dukakis in the tank representing the 2026 Patriots offense. Mark Sanford's below that with his own goal, and a special kind of narcissist, Mr. John Edwards. What's what do we think? Looking at this in the whole, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it makes sense. I think it lines up if you think about I think we did a really good job of structuring in terms of the people whose impact in the choices that they've made ultimately had a lasting impact in terms of where we are. And I think I love, I mean, quite honestly, Dukakis in the 2026 Patriots offense.
That was great.
I was like, that's so good. That's so good. I was like,
I think
oh
it, I
my
think
Texas
gosh.
governor,
I think it reveals to me how protected our political class is. Because the highest number we've got in there is "Oops, I revealed the truth." And so if your biggest fumble is people discovering who you really are, I think it really shows us how guarded and how sinister our politics really are. And that's not the note I wanted to end on, but it's the truth.
No, I mean, I think that's the truth. I do think there is a way in which all politics is performance, and you're trying to um, be charismatic, and I think that the people who win, quite honestly, well, I shouldn't say that. I think the best people who win are people who are authentic, right? I think people who are authentic, and then you have folks who clearly aren't authentic that are getting exposed. We see that all over the Trump administration right now, and so the challenge, I believe, of our era is to get back to a way in which we can create a culture of honesty and authenticity when it comes to our elected officials rather than saying, oops, I revealed the truth. Like the truth should be the good thing. You should know who they
That should be
are.
what you're leading with.
Yeah, that should be what you're leading with. And that's not the case. And so I do think we are fortunate to be in an era where there are some folks who are telling us who they are, particularly within progressive circles. And what they're telling us are things that are actually exciting and inspiring. And so hopefully we can get some of these old, folks out of power, people who are too scared to pass laws to hold folks accountable to not wear a mask. And stop kidnapping people. Like, oh, we can't do that. Like that kind of stuff. That to actually, and to an extent, David, I know you don't want to end on a negative, but to me, they are revealing who they are. Like Hakeem Jeffries is revealing who he is. Oh boy, in the Senate,
oh boy.
yeah, I mean, but like they're revealing who they
Oh
are,
boy.
and I mean, again, I am a pacifist, or I should say, I believe in nonviolent resistance, And sometimes these people actually make me want to be violent. Like, I can't believe in it. I preach it. I'm like, Lord, give me the strength not to actually go full Latrell Sprewell, PJ Carlissimo on these folks, because I get so angry because I'm like, you need to do something. People are suffering and they're just like, I don't know, maybe we need to there need to be special circumstances where people, where ICE can continue doing their work, which is just insane.
Alex, we're going to end on a positive note, but before that, Alex, got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is that as much as these politicians are the problem, the people are the bigger problem. I
There it is.
think we can't expect our politics to be transformed if we're not transformed. And I
Oof.
think one of the things for me is the reason I love history so much is because it's instructive. And so the "you're killing us" tier is actually really important because all these little choices that people made led us to this moment, led us to the dissatisfaction that they're in. But yet there's a collective amnesia about just history, basic American history. And so it's not sexy always, or it's not cool, but it's I don't know. I think we are the problem. And until we address that problem and fundamentally change ourselves, that we're going to keep getting the politicians who are going to reveal the truth, and because they're revealing who we are, selfish.
Damn,
So,
that's some deep shit. It's fucking true though.
yeah.
We're gonna end on a positive note. We're gonna do a little quick segment, because I want to bring a little bit of joy into the end of this. They're not all the old folks in office are doing a terrible job, and I want to
I know
start
you're talking about.
a new segment, that I'm calling our FDR Dime Piece Communicator of the Week. If you do not follow State Senator Louise Lucas of North Carolina, go follow that
Virginia.
woman. Virginia, I'm sorry, yes, Virginia, not North Carolina. She is fantastic. She is the woman that spearheaded doing the 10-to-1 Virginia congressional map. I'm gonna put this up for the visual audience, but for the audio audience, I want to read my favorite tweet of hers. She has been on fire, and you love to see an old folk understand modern media. This is from @Sen Louise Lucas. Thank you to the 97,000 plus people who are now following me on Twitter. That's almost one follow for every Donald Trump mentioned in the Epstein files.
Dang.
And
man.
she's been dropping bombs like this all month. It's glorious. Go check her out. Our FDR Dime Piece of the Week, L. Louise Lucas. Shout out to her. Shout out to y'all for hanging with us and making it through to the end. We really appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.